Hello, hello. I want to welcome all of you to another hour of truth, information, knowledge, and mystery. And mystery and all those things that you will be hard pressed to find anywhere else except here on the Universal Consciousness Show. My name is Aage, and I'm one of the hosts, and I'm here in the southwest of the United States, and my co-host Diana is over in Germany, some 7,000 miles away. Are you there, Diana?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, everyone.
Hi, hi. Yeah, and also for those of you that want to listen to this show again, you can find it in many places, including Facebook and social media and many other places. And it is also archived on a couple of websites where one of them is www.aage-nost.com. And you look under blogs of mystery, very appropriately, and you will see it. And I also have now the other website up, and that is www.universal-consciousness-show.com. And as always, keep a pen and some paper handy because we just might be giving you a few pearls here and there that maybe you want to write down. We've been known to do that, so just keep that handy. And also, if you know somebody that has not access to the computer right now, but they have a telephone, give them the live call-in number where they can listen. And that is 701-719-9704. Yeah, that should teach you not to have paper ready, huh? Because 701-719-9704. And I know, Diana, you've been looking forward to this show because we are going to be talking with the Kung Fu and Qigong master, Monk Su from Australia. And we will be discussing the advantages, the health benefits, and how it will sharpen the mind, give us discipline, and unbelievable abilities. And this is something that I'm looking forward to. Monk Su has been a guest with us once or twice I think, before. And I have learned over the years that when I'm in the company of excellence, I should rather listen than talk. So we're going to be doing a lot of listening today, and without any more jabbering, I want to welcome Sue to the show. Hello, hello there.
Thank you so much, Aage, and love to you always leading the forefront of elite information for people to open their minds and hearts. Diana, it's always a breath of fresh air to hear your angelic voice.
Thank you. And I'm very happy. Yeah, go on.
Yeah, no, keep going, please.
When I'm in company of excellence.
To meet you again.
Always.
Yeah. Go on, Diana.
Thank you very much for being here with us today. And from my own experience, I can assure the listener that after spending 1 hour connected to your love energy, they will keep feeling it after that for a very long time. So just open your eyes and listen with your heart. As I know from Aage, we will talk today about every corner of the universe. So which one of them you would like to start with, Monk Su?
Wow, okay, so, with this, and we've only got 1 hour, so I'm going to be really fast in talking about a lot of topics. Are you ready for this?
We're ready.
Okay,
give it to us.
And Katie, behind the scenes, Katie and Daryl, thank you so much for being hands-on, for the guys who are the unsung heroes of bringing, this audio, this visual, the click funnels, the actual, everything that you're hearing right now is due to the expertise and the love that comes from some beautiful people. Katie's from Adelaide. Daryl, I'm not seeing in the visual, but I can hear and sense your energy in the background. love for both of you as well. So just to give you props, I can't thank you enough.
Well, that is good. And I know, Diana, that you're especially interested in this one because Zhu is a Qigong master, and you are also a Qigong practitioner. Isn't that right?
Yes, but I just practice. I'm not a master or nothing. I just practice.
No, but that's how it starts. I thinking back to my early days of martial arts, and I did a lot of stupid things, and of course I never went to mastership either. I have no real interest in it, actually. There were other things on my mind, but we got to start somewhere. So let's hear from one that has advanced beyond the stages, because it is so much more. Once you start getting into mastery, it is mostly of the mind. And I can remember one of the masters, he said, there is no opponent. I think you know who that was?
Yeah. Bruce Lee?
Yes. There is no opponent. The only opponent there is yourself.
You know, Li Xiaolong is his name.
Yeah.
However, he mastered it. I personally feel, in his essence, he mastered a lot of things in the mind. And that's why when you master a lot of things and you reveal a lot of secrets from the east to the west, a certain energy assassinates you. And, I will be smiling when they do assassinate me one day. I'll still be looking this. I'll still be looking this good when I'm dead.
Yeah, but I don't plan on that, so I don't think you should either.
You're not. I'm not planning on it, but you've got to sometimes move a little quick. For these days, the assassination is of characters. They try and defamate your character by false information. Aage, you know as well as I do. There's a lot of heat around the topic of alien disclosure at the moment.
Yeah.
And for a fact, I'm going to really start on a hot topic. There's going to be a false flag as far as an alien invasion. You know that, right?
Yes, there will be.
Yeah, so they'll be playing with a lot of people's minds with CGI.
Yeah, there is the holographic technology has gone quite far, so they're able to put those ships in the sky, and we all would think that they are real, but they're not.
Yeah, and the true, it's amazing. The word alien. The definition of being alien is very heavy. I think the real aliens, the most notorious ones, are the elite 1% that are actually keeping people enslaved by not revealing a lot of technology secrets that are actually in the forefront. Like sound being a high-tech frequency where we can move objects without touching them. Medicine. Things that aren't being revealed to the normal public. I mean, we can seriously talk about a lot of things, but one thing that we should all be aware of is how accessible this information of secrecy is available. It's so transparent to the mind who can actually see beyond it all.
And that is not easy when you are surrounded by the lie all the way around you. So, but now we're getting into this arena where is probably of lesser importance. I want to hear about you. What are you doing down there? How you have a very nice place there where you have people from all over the world coming to train with you. I want to hear about that.
Yeah, there's quite a few situations happening at the current moment where you've got to take your hat off to people that even make a decision to going beyond the norm and delving into the paranormal. You know, I really take my hat off to people who can see beyond it all. Yet I won't tolerate people that choose not to change. You know, because there's a lot of people out there that are afraid of what's within themselves, the potential, the source, the hidden truths. You know, all these people, you can see it. Fear is written all over their face and all over their hearts. They don't understand the unseen. You know, they're all falling gullible towards what is seen, the program, the facade of, you know, Facebook, Instagram, all these social medias that promote stupidity. You know, however, used in the right fashion, all these tools could be just as sharp as the samurai katana sword. However, we're not using tools to cut through the illusion. We're using tools to keep people in nothing but ignorance and asleep. You know, people are utilizing significance to actually, you know, promote their indulgence into mindless activities. It's so sad every time you turn on such things like this. However, you know, it's going to take a very, very strong collective of wisdom. So what's happening down here is I'm in touch right now with, you know, a beautiful woman who keeps me riveted on inspiring others through, and this will bring me to the philosophy of Bruce Lee, where water, you know how once upon a time he says, be like water?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, this is one of my really topics, one of my real hidden truths. Just as of late, I'm going to ask a question. Does anyone here know the Skiroko theory?
No. Skidoko?
Diana? Yes, Skiroko.
No.
SCIRO. What is it? Skiroko. SCIROCCO. That's the true spelling of that. We're talking about frequency. We're talking about emitting energies through a lot of. We're talking earth. We're talking water. We're talking air. And I'm purely fascinated by this theory alone, where information and technology are passed through these elements. And in saying this, water is, you know, the water that I'm drinking right now. This is obvious to our onlookers that it's just water, but this is not just any type of water. This is not the water that is filtrated through taps, through a normal system. And you might one day actually get to interview Laura, who's pretty much, well, I won't say too much right now, but at the end of the day, she's a guiding light, an angel.
That says a lot coming from someone like you. That is a guiding light.
Yeah, and she's riveted my heart on understanding the purity of water and the energies of water, which everyone needs water, you know? So I will say Kangen water is what we're drinking at the moment. And to give it justice, you just have to study two things: molecular hydrogen. How do you filtrate your system? So if you ask, what am I doing down here? I'm actually promoting the water that gives one's body the right way to detox itself, the right way to hydrate yourself, the understanding of how medicinal water is, you know, if it's actually brought through the right ways of these titanium plates that electrify the water, that separate the molecular structure and bring it back to its original form. So you know as well as I do, if we really want to talk about medicine, for people to go beyond their sicknesses, whether it be cancer, whether it be some high-grade sicknesses of the mental kind, if you filtrate your system with the right type of water, you can actually go beyond a lot of sicknesses. You can cure yourself. Qigong, you're basically breathing in water on the finest level. And we all know that if you really study the fact, 3/4 you are all water.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, so get your water right. That means literally get your heart right by the water you drink. Get your water right by breathing in through the channels. We all know that the meridians that are in our body, we're opening these channels to actually open up the pathways for all of our wheels and our chakras to work in balance with each other. So, you know, I can't thank Laura. I can't thank Laura enough to. And one day, you know, hopefully you interview Laura, because she's a very a humble angel, I say, to inspire me to eat better, drink better, and train just as hard as we do in our grounds here.
Mm-hmm. What you're talking about here is actually, we're talking, you know, body, mind, spirit. And without having the body in health and good health, the other two will also suffer. So what you're talking about is probably alkalizing the body through the alkaline water, since we are mostly water. And that goes back to the Nobel Prize in 1931, where Dr. Warburg, first of all, he discovered that no bacteria and virus can live in a heavy oxygenated environment, and that also went along with the fact if you alkalize the body, then all bacteria and virus will also die. So if you alkalize the body, bring it up above 8 or 9, according to him, which I suppose the Kangen water can do, then the disease, if you have one in the body, will go away. Am I on to something here?
Yeah, you're totally onto it. And what we're drinking is 9.5 at the moment, this present moment. You know, yet this machine is unbelievable, medical grade. It also gives you many opportunities to, you know, wash your vegetables in acidic water, which takes a lot of film off these vegetables that we're given through our markets. You know, all these farmers, they understand what they're doing to these foods. And if you put food that's actually sprayed with so many chemicals into your body, you're doing an injustice. However, if you wash these fruits and vegetables through the right water, you can actually see the film, this yellow film, come off the vegetables. And you can, you know, seriously go beyond by eating the food that's meant to be for you in its first place, in its organic fashion, you know. So you can change a lot of things in your world. Change the air you breathe. Change the water you drink. Change the thoughts that you have. Because a lot of people, it comes from thoughts, words, and then into action. Mind, body, and spirit. You know, you've got to align a lot of things. If you don't, like you said, if you don't align one or two of them, your third one's going to be out of whack. So if your thinking is really distraught, this is where it's at. You know as well as I do. Get your feel right, and you can definitely go the mile with your machine.
We gotta have balance.
And in saying, the balance is massive. So how about we give props to the third world? What's happening with the world of all of us drinking clean water?
I suppose things would change a little bit, because one thing will lead to another if we start being aware of the fact that we are not doing what we should do, and we discover something like that, we will start looking at other things too. What ties into this, or what other areas should I be looking at so it opens up our mind to a new reality as you start? It's kind of like if you discover one thing and start pulling on that, then the whole string comes and it pulls all the rest of it with it. So it could lead to something else where other areas of our life will also start changing because of what we discover by doing one thing. It made sense to me saying it.
Big time. Aggie, in your book, you reveal a lot of secrets. Can you please, you've got me on here to talk a little bit, but I also want to hear your heartfelt view on who took the helix, who took our rods, why was our code broken, and how can we bring our codes back into place to understand the higher realms within us?
Well, that was done some 270,000 years ago, when that is not totally true for all races. There are some that is seeded here on Earth, but the Anunnaki, they created a servant species, which for most of it is us, and they changed the genetic code. They degraded it from their own code and embedded that in another species that was there at the time, and then what they ended up with was something like us, and that was the species that became their slaves, basically. But they didn't plan on the fact that they didn't take away ambition. They took away many of the abilities that the Anunnaki had, like long life and knowing what is in the other person's mind and stuff like that. But we are evolving again, because now we're getting to the great circle around the galaxy every 26,000 years, and we are going through a region of space where everything is accelerated. So we're seeing now that, especially for I read this several years ago, there was at UCLA, I think they did some experiments where they went in and looked at the genetic code of indigo children. And they found that the junk DNA, they started to assemble itself into a structure that was more organized. And these indigo children, they had tremendous spiritual insight, and they were psychics, and they got other abilities, telekinesis and things like that, which of course is all part of the junk DNA. They call it junk because they don't know what it is. It does have a purpose, but it's just not understood. So we are changing, we are accelerating, and we are growing to a higher level of consciousness. There is nothing we can do to stop it. It's going to happen.
So we're in a very primitive stage of our evolution to understand the high minds of our youth that are coming through.
Yeah.
Okay. And in saying that, I could take this interview in so many directions, yet I'm going to go slow for the listeners. How do you, this is my question for Deanna, how's your love within you?
It is wonderful, but I have to admit that I discovered that at a very late point of my life, because before I didn't know what that is. So if you don't go and research in a deeper spiritual way, you will never find out what love is, what real love is, and who you really are in order to love yourself. So my love in this moment is wonderful.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I wanted to find out, if we're going to really see anything outside of ourselves that shows us what we're like within ourselves, I really feel that we're not going to accept it at first, just like the truth. You know how we call things alien, things we don't know of.
Yeah.
This actually is paramount in everyone's existence. At once upon a time, way back in history, truth was actually revered as blasphemy in the first stages.
Yeah. I know, we're still doing that.
Yeah, so, we're so primitive, we can't even accept the truth to a degree, yet we're pushing our agendas on so many so many levels where our communication really needs to take an overhaul. Our education needs to take an overhaul. If you're ever going to get anything from this interview, people should really wonder about how you've educated yourself and stop pointing fingers at the outside hierarchies of what's bringing the education through. Question your authorities. Just the other day, Laura and I were traveling in the car, and a gentleman by the name of Alan Watts, study all of his material if you can, but he's saying that who is the authority if we need documentation these days to have our degrees and whatnot, which is silly. Who gives the authority on stamping a piece of paper to say that you're a doctor or you're a professor or that you're a lover? One should really go within so much to see source on such a level that you should understand that you should be able to tap in yourself, just like Qigong. You can listen to so many videos, you can watch so many things, you can see so many masters, but if you don't do your homework, you're never going to tap into that power of what Qi actually is. Yeah. Just like information. And that's why I think people are so scared, like the elite 1% people who are keeping our societies enslaved by not giving us the medicine that we need. But our true medicine is in the air. Our true medicine is in the water. And the truth of all medicine is the mind.
Yeah.
If you tap into the mind, and I'm not talking about a separatism of your mind, my mind, and I'm not going to come to the party for the next week and say, oh, guys, guess what happened? I tapped into something. That's all rubbish. People generally want to be significant and talk a lot of BS about what they discovered, when really what we're all missing here is a dialogue. And that dialogue comes back down to communication. We can all uplift the game if we understand the language that we all communicate on. The only reason why we're all segregated and separated in this paradigm is that our communication is at different levels. And that's it. It's such a simple, and it's not complex. And what we're making it is complex because of two things: greed and power.
Yeah. And not necessarily in that order.
Yeah. And you can understand by what we're focusing our attention on the puppets, when our attention and our focus should be on cutting the strings of what those puppets are connected to. And those puppets that I'm talking about are the ones in so-called power at the moment. And I know for a fact Katie could definitely resonate with what I say is, love has no strings. It does not pull puppets. Yet it's a way of life. It's an act of truth where it's not attached. It becomes, how can I say it, a selfless way of life. It's not limited. It's actually unlimited in its expression of what we can do. And love has nothing to do with money. So if we're going to change the earth, if we're going to change the people, if we're going to change lives, we're going to have to really change our dialogue and our communication with people. And that's where it begins. So people, if you really want to change the community you're in, if you want to change the life that you're in, you've got to first come at it with a dialogue that can be understood from a selfless and unlimited source, which is pure love.
We are getting to the bottom of the hour here. Maybe we could do just a short commercial break, and then we will be back again with the Universal Consciousness Show, and we will be talking to Monk Sue from Australia. So we'll be back.
The rising rate of autism is not just concerning, it's a disaster. No matter what the cause of it is something that everyone should be acutely aware of and actively helping out those in the community that have it. That is why Adventures in Autism was created. Adventures in Autism is a show inspired by our life with our son Seth, and the many experiences his autism has brought to our lives. Each episode we bring you the topic of the week, news about autism, and resources to help you and your family or friends out in their own adventures with autism. Tune in Mondays at noon and midnight on lnmradionetwork.com or openeyesnetwork.com and get involved in the community. Let our experiences be an inspiration to you.
Attention L&M Radio Network listeners. Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi available, you can still listen to every minute of the L&M Radio Network by calling 605-562-4203? No smartphone app or internet needed. Saves your data plan and no extra cost if you have unlimited minutes. Call 605-562-4203 to listen to the L&M Radio Network on any phone, anytime, anywhere.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice. I walk through this dark age we're in with open eyes. Listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall. The Late Night in the Midlands radio network is deeply devoted to you, the listener. We feel it is necessary to bring you all of the information that you can use in your life. Each and every day you will find something to listen to here, and whether you come away from the shows informed, inspired, or entertained, it is our passion. We don't bow to corporations, and we don't have handlers to tell us what not to talk about. We bring you everything. Late Night in the Midlands, however, is fully listener supported. We need your help to stay on the air and to make sure that we get the bills paid. We need your help to keep the truth alive. If you feel that you have gotten anything out of Late Night in the Midlands, we would appreciate your support. You can become a subscriber and help us out on a monthly basis, or if you'd like, a one-time donation is fully appreciated as well. Every year, the average household in America spends over $3,000 on entertainment alone. If you could help us with just a tiny fraction of that amount, you would make all of the difference. Go to latenightinthemidlands.com and click on the subscribe button. Thank you, and as always, keep yourself informed.
Hello, we are back again with the Universal Consciousness Show, and we are talking to Monk Sue in Australia. And yeah, I recognize that book. And we are talking about some of the mysteries of life that we are going through. And I want to bring him back because in the last segment here, you mentioned a term that maybe not everybody is familiar with. You mentioned the word chi, or what we can call it sometime life energy. Would you explain a little bit about that? Because it is something that we are necessary. It is necessary for life. How do we get more of it? How can we deal with it? Please speak a little bit on that, because that should be right up your alley.
To start with, the pronunciation chi in Mandarin is translated to life force.
Oh, yeah.
We understand that many people are living, but they actually come from a dead place.
Yeah.
So when one's chi is stagnant, when one's chi is not moving, things tend to come to the surface, and we call these things sickness. When you eat things that have no chi in them, when you're not breathing deep enough from a place without chi, you actually start deteriorating. So when you actually practice Qi Gong, and Gong is the translation of cultivation. So this is why the ancients in the mountains or in many family bloodlines of the Chinese fact, and it's spreading around the world, a lot of people are doing Qi Gong, a lot of people are becoming Qi masters. And I was lucky enough back in the day of living in a monastery of Dao Wuxin, Grandmaster Wolf, and hopefully one day, Aage, I'll put you in touch with Grandmaster Wolf for Wolf to explain a lot more the depths of the magic of Qi. In my own experience, Qi is pretty much the ultimate experience that one could cultivate, and the only thing that one can open up the mind that's orchestrating the whole show. Now, when you become the master of Qi, you understand the negative and the positive of Qi to actually heal anything and everything. You can dissolve tumors. You can pretty much orchestrate life, or you can orchestrate death back into life with Qi, you know. So the way I can actually gift you these days is breathe, and breathe from your navel. So if we, you know, if we all come at it together, if everyone listening, take a very nice deep breath through your nose. Let your belly swell to a degree, and then breathe out through your mouth. There's many factors where you can put the tip of your tongue on the palate of your mouth and open that pressure point. However, in saying this, ladies and gentlemen, there's 3 types of Qi. The Qi you're born with from your mother and father, on how their Qi are. The Qi that you eat through our food, which is really important. So if you're eating processed food, if you're eating basically rubbish from packets, you're not going to understand Qi at all. And then there's the governing Qi, universal Qi, which is all around us, within us. So aligning those 3, getting your food right, getting your own body right, and getting the mind right, the overall universal Qi. This is a practice. And you're not going to know it until you do it over and over and over and over. No one's going to tap into it. If you're just going to sit there and talk about it all day, it's not going to... And it's not something you can understand with words. So even I'm pointing that way. You know, you don't look at me at pointing at something and actually believe me. I'm pointing at Qi. Go to the Qi and do it for yourself. That's the best way to understand it. I understood it to a degree of, it made me a lot healthier. And I will say, the magic of existence is Qi. And those who actually cultivate their Qi become the real magicians at creating things to go back into nothingness and come out of nothingness. You know? So if you really want to tap into it, do your homework, I say. You know, don't just believe the books, don't believe people. You know, have a direct experience. If I'm ever going to say, what is Qi? It's your direct experience tapping into the universal energy of all things, where all things are governed by.
Mm.
That's pretty much the best definition I can give.
That would make sense, yeah. And I think it ties into everything else, what we see, what we experience, what we hear, and including what I have noticed about you. You always wear white. Is there any reason for that?
There's a major reason. I only want to look sexy for you, Aage.
Hey,
Which is, far from the evolution of evolving. However, everyone, I'm actually, this is the first time I've worn white in aeons. I'm usually all in black.
Oh, yeah?
Actually, you know what? It dawned on me when you just said that. If we all look up into the sky, we think it's blue. Beyond that blueness is all black.
Yes.
And here's my, are you ready for this? Here's my take on for you guys. Behind all that black, it's all white. And beyond all that white, there's nothing you can imagine that's color. Have you had a near-death experience, Aage?
Not near death so much. I have walked on the other side of the whale, so I know what it feels and looks like.
So, Deanna, have you died recently?
No, but I know that in order to escape the illusion of the self, you have to learn to die before you die.
This is exactly where I was getting. Everyone is afraid of death because they don't know what's beyond it.
Mm-hmm.
I think the truth in what the aliens are going to share with us is that we're all going to go beyond death with the information that they have, or the information that we reveal from within us through entities that we think are outside of us. However, if we look at the mind in totality, that we're seeing things about ourselves, that we've gone beyond death and that we can travel. And Aage, you're a veteran in this field. Please explain to us about your time travel.
Time travel. Yeah, I do talk about that in the last chapter of the book. And even science is coming around now to the fact that it is possible. There's experiments that has been done with positive experiments that show that we can actually, by the way we think, affect the past and change the past. And there are ways to do this, and there are some pitfalls, so I suggest that you would probably read more about that in the book because it's a little involved, and I don't want to spend the time on doing that now, but it is possible, both mental and possibly physical. So on my website, just halfway down into the picture gallery, I have two pictures that I believe is possibly the only physical evidence of time travel that I have seen, because I took the pictures. And this is two pictures next to each other. One's got a rain in it, and the other one hasn't, but it is taken at the same time at two different times. So this gets involved. But also in 2003, BBC Television came over to the United States to do a TV documentary on time travel. They interviewed Michio Kaku and Green and several other theoretical physicists, as well as myself, where I was demonstrating a little electronic device that I have, and it got very interesting. So maybe just read more about that in the book, and you will probably enjoy it.
I definitely have. You've definitely given a few secrets away, and you know what? The public are missing out if they don't get a touch, or if they don't get this book and read it 3 times. I suggest 3 times. I mean, Deanna, we spoke last time. Now, have you read this for the 3rd time or what?
I read it for the two times, and as I started for the third time, Aage contacted me and asked me just from nothing. He contacted me and asked me if I want to be a co-host in a radio show in America. So I thought my life is already changed by the third time, so I stopped it.
Look at that. Deanna, that's you calling yourself from the future to read it for the third time. You know that?
Yeah, could be, but it's not my
phone.
No, it's not my phone. No.
You just never know. Yeah. However, in saying that, that's a very old ringtone, Aage. I don't know about your iPhone 10 that's just come out. What's happening?
No. I am sorry to say that was the house line here that was ringing, and nobody took the phone, so that's what we got. Live radio.
You know what? It's live radio, but I do want to say the aliens are calling you, Aage.
Yeah.
They're all calling you. So I do say, look.
In fact, we are doing a little bit of time travel right here. Right now, we have about 1:45 in the afternoon here. What time do you have, Zoo?
Yeah, we should be coming on to about nearly 5:45.
Yeah, but it's tomorrow.
Yeah, so look at that. We're a day apart.
You are tomorrow.
So I do want to say there's a few things I want to get through. Look, we need to understand a lot of things about ourselves at this present stage. The first and foremost, Jacques Fresco. I gotta bring Jacques Fresco to the plate.
Yes.
There's a few people in this interview I'm going to bring to the forefront, and these are our leading pioneers. The leading pioneers of our world they've been trying to explain to us that we don't need money. Money is a byproduct of a slavery system. Okay, so if you still want to be enslaved, you'll still use money. However, let that information not confuse you. Yeah, for the time being, you might need a bit of bread and butter to get yourself money or to get yourself from A and B, but don't confuse yourself that that's the be-all and end-all, you know?
Yeah.
So we've got a caller. We've got a caller on the line.
Yeah, we have a caller. Just.
Well, hello, everyone.
Hey.
This is Daryl Neely, and I would love to tell you thank you for the compliments at the beginning of the show, but it is for the betterment of man and the betterment of the consciousness of man that Katie and I work so hard. And we love Aage, we love everyone, and Monk Sue, and I forgot her name. I keep forgetting it. Oh,
Diana.
Diana. Oh, I love you.
No
You're so sweet. And Monk Sue, I have a question.
Sure.
You have the aura and the energy that is just so beautiful. And people in this world, there are very few that have that energy. Mm-hmm. What is the best way to start on the quest for an average person to change their lifestyle and to disindoctrinate themselves from the ideologies that are given today? What is the best way for the person to make that first step and that change?
Thank you, Daryl, for, that's a very intricate question. So I'll be quick on revealing a few secrets here. In our ancient times, it came back to language. And magic is orchestrated from your vibration. When your vibration is right and with the language in unison with a higher realm that goes within, and I'm not talking about the measurement of up and down, I'm talking about depth and going within. First and foremost, you must understand what you are not to understand who you really are. So that's the first tool. In understanding that, when you get beyond that, you must master your language with yourself on many realms. And this is where magic comes into it. Abramelin the Mage, you're looking at real fascinating magicians who are always going to come at you with your language is paramount. Your dialogue with yourself is paramount. In the morning, it's how you speak to yourself. In the middle of the day, it's how you speak with others. And then at the end of the day, it's how you drop words all together without holding too much definition and meaning. We don't obviously, we don't need to make too much of a difference to the outside world, but the difference you come from with being whole and not being segregated by thinking fragmentarily. So please, if you're one of these human beings, and I will say it like this, ancient times and ancient texts, Lao Tzu, Chuang Tzu, we're talking about ancient people who talk truth with, they never said they were Chinese in their revealing themselves through words. Jesus, the most beautiful beloved, he never said he was Christian. Buddha never said he was Indian. And Aage will never say he is alien.
even though I have papers to prove it.
That's right. That's that's magic right there. So what can we do? We can understand the language that we're coming from. If you're coming from a space of scarcity, that's because of the language you've been indoctrinated with, separatism. However, if you start being aware of what you're thinking, what you're saying, and what you're doing, these three things are paramount towards your existence on how to become harmonious with everything around you. This is paramount. Harmony is, or joy within yourself, first starts with your responsibility at what you're thinking, saying, and doing. Please, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, it's ludicrous if you're thinking apples, talking about oranges, and then trying to search for bananas in your actions. Please stay aligned with who you really are, by knowing that you've got to make sure everything becomes in unison by bringing it back to a wholeness. That's what we're all actually not being tainted by in this world. We should seriously come from a space of a togetherness. All borders should be eradicated. All monetary gains should be eradicated. We should all be coming at this oneness. So the Venus Project promotes that. Money is seriously what's holding us all back. Our thoughts, it's not collective enough. We're not coming together in one conversation to hold the space with each other to actually provide for everyone on this planet. And we've got the resources to do this. And we've actually got some really high-tech information out there that could seriously bring humanity to a space where there would not be any starving people or any sick people. And what can the individual do from the first and foremost? Not comply with the paradigm of fear.
Yeah.
It doesn't exist. Why are you playing the game with something that doesn't exist? You should be asking yourself that question. Why am I coming at this world with a space that, that's an illusion? Truth is always going to set you free, which is the ancient term of all magicians. Come at a space with truth, and you should be able to unfold in such a way where you'll evolve every day. If you hold on to old ways of thinking, if you hold on to systems that are outdated, that are implemented by a fear-based projection, that comes from a slavery source, so the 1% can feed off the 99% that are being enslaved by it. So we need to really work together and come together in a collective thought that works with each other without segregating the process.
Yeah, and we gotta watch our mind. Whatever we allow to have in our mind, that is what we're going to have in our life. And I think a good place to start there is what I did a couple of years ago. I crawled behind the TV and I unplugged it.
That worked. That worked.
Yeah.
And for the kids today, I'm unplugging that YouTube, and not unplugging YouTube. Got to keep Aage's show on, but unplugging that social media, because they walk into walls and fall off of the sides of mountains.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. The other day I was crossing the road Obviously, it's a zebra crossing. And this student in his cap had his cap down, so you can't see his face. And he's actually walking towards me with his phone in his hand. And I've actually, you know what, because my whole life, my existence actually comes back to waking people up. My profession is waking the dead up. And so this student is walking towards me with his phone in his hand, his cap is down, and I flicked his cap so hard, I put so much chi into my finger that he looked up. But when he looked up, he didn't see me because I'd walked past him at this stage. And he didn't even wake up, and he went straight back to his phone, you know. So, you know, and lucky for him, I could have saved his life. But you know what? I think I did save his life by keeping him asleep. Something that sometimes you might not want to concentrate on. People, if they choose to sleep, let them sleep.
Yeah.
Do not go out of your mind trying to wake people up who choose to sleep. But once in a while, you might just get that one avid soul who's pretty responsible for their generation, who wants to wake up for the rest of mankind to elevate the process for the generations that follow. And I will say, there's a saying from Grandmaster Wolf that I got from the monastery back in the day, years and years ago, was, Grandmaster Wolf, I pay homage and much love and respect to you, brother. His saying is, the next generation is best taught by the living example.
Yeah. Absolutely. I see we are getting close to the top of the hour, but I have a question here for the people behind the curtain, the magicians that makes everything work. Could we go over a half hour? Give me a thumbs up if you think it can be done.
Yeah, we're clear. We're clear.
Okay.
Yay!
Let's do it, because there's so much to talk about here. And Sue gave me the thumbs up too, and I think we should do that, because this will be a shame to cut it off right now. We got so much more to talk about. And let's see here. I want to give you something to think about, and then we will take about a 3-minute break, and then we will be back again. And what I want you to think about until we get back is, I come from an environment of business. And hey, there you go. There you go. And I'd like you to talk a little bit to business people that really think they are something, like I did, and I discovered I really wasn't. So there are a lot of business people out there that think that they know pretty much everything that they need to know. They need a little bit of an awakening, or something plain and simple, something to stir them so they can look from the outside in on themselves and say, wait a minute, maybe there's more to this than what I have seen. So give a thought to this, and then let's go to a little break, and we'll be right back after the break talking with Mongsu again. Thank you.
There are days that the red pill is bitter in my stomach, but I can't get it back out. I think because I have to. I speak because I have no choice.
Katie, can
I
you hear
walk
me?
through this dark age we're in with open eyes. listen to Open Eyes on latenightinthemidlands.com. And together, maybe we won't stumble and fall.
The L&M Radio Network offers a chat room for you, the listener, to connect with others who are interested in the topics and guests that the L&M Radio Network brings to you. During the live shows, the hosts will even visit the chat room and chat with you, the listener. Click on the big red Chat and Listen button at the top of the website and join us. No subscription is needed at either lnmradionetwork.com or latenightinthemidlands.com.
Why subscribe to Late Night in the Midlands, you ask? Well, I'll tell you why. Late Night in the Midlands covers everything, and through the thousands of expert guests who have joined Michael Vera on his show, come pieces of the big puzzle, which started many years ago. Michael and his guests reveal information dating back to the beginning of time. To this very moment, Michael Vera not only brings you the best guests with the best information, but Michael is not afraid to call out those who are less than honest. You see, in this day and age, we need a radio show we can count on and a radio host we can trust to expose the truth one show at a time. So, become a late nighter and subscribe now. Talk radio like no other. Late Night in the Midlands, bringing the truth back to talk radio.
Do you need toner for your Epson, Hewlett-Packard, Canon, Brother, Apple, or Sharp printers? Look no further than Laser Technologies. In business for over 20 years, they offer the lowest prices on toner on the web. They can also repair your laser printers and toners fast and easy. Call their expert staff today at 561-792-9600 or email us at service@laser-technologies.com for all your toner needs. All toner is shipped nationwide. Why wait? Get the lowest prices on toner. Call or email us today.
There is a better radio show, beyond that which is known to the people. It is a radio show more informative than others, and as timeless as infinity. It is the equilibrium between light and dark, between the sheeple and the paranormal, and it is heard at the base of man's ignorance and at the summit of his knowledge. This is the radio show of imagination, a show we call The Secret Teachings.
Hello, and we are back with the Universal Consciousness Show, and Diana and I are talking with Monksu in Australia. And we just had 1 hour worth of very interesting discussions here. We're going to do a little more time because there's so much to talk about. And I asked the question before the break, but before that answer, please let us know where they can reach you. You got a website and maybe an email you want to give out. And I also know that people can come to your place there and train with you. I would like you to talk without, after you answer my question there, maybe talk about that a little bit too, because there's much that can be learned. So where can we reach you?
All those questions, monkxu.com, monkxu.com. Email is zxumonk@gmail.com. Pretty easy, zxumonk@gmail.com. I live in an area called Paradise Point, and my grounds are very welcoming. However, one thing you might be scared of is pain. You're going to go through a lot of pain when you get here. The pain of shedding, the pain of shedding layers and layers of conditioning. You're going to go through the pain of understanding what you're afraid of, what you seem to be holding on to. Some people, they don't understand many things that, it's a very delicate topic. However, I'll get to the other question that you asked. In business, what is it that I could actually share with the business world of how we could orchestrate together a better world? You've got to seriously come at it from a degree of simplicity. If we make things complex, then no one's going to understand it. When a little kid walks past you, you're not going to do anything for this little kid unless it's a gesture from the heart. And if you give this kid, just put your hand open like this and share, this kid turns around and without question, with no contract, with no laws, with no money, it's going to take something from your hand and take it from you. So the only thing for these big business moguls is that the only injustice that you're doing to mankind is not sharing your wealth and not sharing in general. The truest success comes back to sharing. If you can't share your success, and that is the true failure.
Yeah.
If we seriously can't share with each other the resources that we have, it's sad to think that on both extremes that we've got, in this day and age, we've got people that are starving. So sad.
Yeah. Yeah, this goes right along with what the richest man in the world at one time said, J. Paul Getty. He, in his book, How to Be Rich, he said one phrase in there that's kind of stuck in my head, and I keep remembering it, and that is that if you help enough other people to get what they want, you will always have what you want. And that is perfect. The epitome of sharing.
Yeah, perfect. And that's all you're going to receive when you come to my place to train, is nothing but good food, Laura, the angel that's mirroring, living, upgrading. She's definitely one of the most beautiful souls I've ever met. She always comes from a place, from her heart. She's always giving. So if you're going to come to my place to train, you're going to see this love that's endless, infinite. We're going to give you food. We're going to give you, some people. Isn't it strange? You'd come to my place giving me money to train, but sometimes on that rare occasion, if you haven't got $1 to your name, I'd definitely reach into my wallet and give you at least a bit of money to get yourself to that next level. However, in saying that, it's not about money and it's not about all of that stuff. It's about what you give from the heart. If you're unconditional, you know that when you give from the heart, it's then well received. So a lot of people, when they come from that scarcity mindset, they're always on the take, Yeah. But if you come from that heart space that's always sharing to get you to that next level, to get you to the next paradigm of understanding yourself on higher levels, then you'll know the true souls that are always giving, which you would have realized that from your upbringing.
Yeah, the universe is a giving place, and it seems like there is a universal law that says when you give, you will receive, and that universal law seems to be about tenfold. And if you walk by a homeless person and give him a $10 bill, that doesn't mean that you're going to see $100 coming back. It could come back in other forms that has much more value than that $100.
Very true.
So it is coming back. There is, and I do that all the time. And I tell you, every time I give something to a homeless person, I get rewarded immediately. Because of the feeling that I have. It's a wonderful feeling of having helped someone. That has the value for me.
Very true. I seriously want to top that off too. I want to top that up with people don't give enough to themselves in a sense of time, They're always thinking they're late. You know, they don't give enough inner sense of self-love. Everyone feels like they're a little bit warped. Give yourself the time, give yourself the education, give yourself... This is the honor that you could do for everyone around you. So in a sense, tapping into the unlimited source of chi, giving a space for people to grow, you know, the word give is just unbelievable. There's platforms called Give Now. There's a scenario of understanding what true giving is when you let go. So when you understand the physics of letting go, and I know that Katie, you could definitely, being a doctorate, a holder of such knowledge, isn't it true, seriously, that when you give yourself the opportunity to let go of all the things that you hold on to, this is the true wealth of knowing what you actually have within yourself already. You know, so I want to tap into, there's a director called Luc Besson. He's created, we just watched the movie last night, Laura and I, we watched the movie called Lucy. Have you seen this?
No.
Okay, you got to get your hands onto the movie called Lucy. Killer movie where it lets you understand on how much of your mind are you using, you know. Tap into the infinite source, because from that source, it's an endless giving portal that's a fountain that never ends. If people tap into that, then their giving will come from a place where it never ends. Because people are really, they're missing the fundamental knowing of, when they do give from a place, like say example, if you look in your wallet right now, you might only have so much, but if you look in your heart, that's where things never end. And from that place, you can give endlessly, whether it's patience, time, virtue, sincerity. These are all the hidden gifts that we've all got within us. It's not something that you're left without. You know, these are the things you're not taught in the classrooms. So drop the game as far as being obedient to the system of slavery. However, unfold in your evolution by tapping into the source where giving is the only space you can come from, because in the end, you're born with nothing and you're going to drop that shell and you will never be able to take what you're working for in this life, where most of us at 99%, we're all coming from a space of how can I get it, when really there was one line in the movie of Lucy, we're hell-bent on having and we're not heaven sent with being.
Yeah. Lucy, is that a recent movie?
No, it's been out for a little while. I may be able to source the cover.
I remember that somebody recommended for me to see that movie once before. I think I kind of failed myself there because I never did watch it. I should do that. Yeah, okay. All right.
So we've got Scarlett Johansson, and you know, if you really want to understand what's happening in today's society or whatever the case may be, there's actually 3 or 4 movies that I'm going to suggest in this broadcast. There's a movie called Minority Report with Tom Cruise in it. This should give you the heads up on where we're heading as a society that's going to be governed by obedience, especially where false information is concerned. Okay, so there's something within you called truth, and then there's something outside of you called an illusion. If your desires are actually led by that illusion for the stimulus factor, you're going to go way off track. However, if you come back to your center, the center of all that there is, And if you remain that pivotal point of being centerless, then you can understand what cannot be governed by form or systems and programs. And Katie and Daryl, you could definitely, and also Diana, you all definitely understand what it's like when you're not governed by the illusion of form, and when you come from a space of love that is formless and that is always there for you to tap into. So that movie, Minority Report, another one called Fifth Element, another one by Luc Besson, it teaches you love. Love is all that there is. Love is always going to be all that there is. And, you know, there's many movies. There's a movie called Fountain by Darren Aronofsky, an Australian director. Darren Aronofsky created a movie called Fountain with Hugh Jackman in it. And if you guys take the time out to watch these little hints in the movie, the Tree of Life. Remember when I say these things that, Daryl, you're asking before, one of the biggest questions is, how can we start? Well, first and foremost, there's a hidden code, and Aage points at this with his book. There's a hidden code within you. Yet your ultimate aim is to connect that hidden code to the source of who you really are. You know, and that's going to sometimes go beyond people's norm of thinking, and you might be ostracized. You might actually be deemed outcast to the way you talk, think, and act. However, I just watched something just recently where it said, I think it's a Martin Luther King quote where, you know, you guys might have to do your research and look this up. But don't be afraid of dying. You know, don't think you always have to live for something that you will be significant for. However, die for something that's of a cause that's the right way to go. You know, because your death could be the liberation of the generations that are coming after you that don't have to be governed by slavery.
Well, in his case, it actually was to a certain degree.
Yeah, well, there you go. You know, a movie that we just recently watched was Movies Are the Big Thing. I do say Hollywood is a facade. However, sometimes it's got some hidden real codes in there that they're trying to share with you. The latest movie is Black Panther. Now, I don't want to really promote too many illusions. However, there's always the hidden truth underlining these illusions. You know, so let's not forget that in amongst all the kung fu and in amongst all the training, your death is imminent.
Yeah.
You know? Please, Aage, is there anything that you seriously want to know from your heart? Because I'm about to unload some bombs in your direction.
Oh, okay. Well, I think that if people come to your place to train, there's going to be a transformation. In fact, a gentleman that contacted me on Facebook, he said he was training with you, and he said there was a phenomenal transformation because you are a teacher that he had been looking for a while. And I think I know you well enough. I have become a good friend, and we have talked for probably close to 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I have learned some things from you in our conversation and studying what you post and so on. I would go as far as recommend this for someone that really wants a transformation. Look into it.
Yeah.
Get in touch
Very
with
true.
it. Yeah. But then,
Very true.
like you said, it's scary. It is scary before you start doing it.
I'll be there the whole way to hold you, to support you, to feed you, to nurture you. I will give you the best food. I will give you the best water. I'll give you the space. I'll give you the understanding, but you must do your homework. You know, if I gave you a set of keys and you just jingle those keys around just for the sound of the jingling, you're not going to open any doors. You know, you've got to use those keys to actually unlock the mysteries within yourself, because it's one thing knowing the mysteries, it's one thing talking about the mysteries, but it's the ultimate way of life in being the magic yourself.
Yeah.
You know, I personally don't want to be promoted at all. You know, I'm far from being a commercial break, or I'm far from the world of wanting to be known. If anything, if I was left alone, that would be the solace of all ways of life. You know, the first thing, there was another interview that I had, and there's a guy called Omar Pinto who said, "Monk, how can they reach you?" And I said, "Man, the best way to reach me is not get in contact with me at all. You know, be your true self in letting go of the outside world of," because that's where the first misery starts. We all want to cling. We all want to just hold on to things, when the truth of it is let go. Let go of what you think. Let go of what you think you are. Let go of what you think will save you. Because in reality, I'm only going, how can I say this? I'm only going to guide you to a personal psychological death in your own way, where it's going to liberate you so much, where it's going to bring you back to your truth. And your truth is the essence of all things. And you know, I was gifted that by Grandmaster Wolf Aage. You know, if you want to go to his YouTube channel as well, it's basically Grandmaster Wolf, WOLF. Tap into his channel. You know.
That was well said. I actually understood that. That was well said, because that has to happen.
Yeah, so simplicity. You got to come back to simplicity. Don't keep holding on to things that are outside of yourself.
You said you were going to unload something. I'm all ears.
Yeah, here we go. This is it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to turn the tables on. I'm going to become the interviewer. Aage, can you? Aage, can you reveal to the public on your secrecy with the latest alien information that's actually going to reveal humanity's next step of evolution? And I know you've got the secrets. The obvious question is, what is real alien to us all?
Well, maybe we are the alien. That could be. But on the other hand, the slave masters have a plan, and they are going with the plan. And that's what I write about in the book, and that is that when it comes to the future, it is a little difficult. And I've been known to predict things that did not happen in the distant past, and even though I'm fairly intuitive or psychic, if you want to say, but some things did not happen. And that came because I now understand timelines better. And in one timeline, there may be a difference from what happens compared to another timeline. But in most of them, I've seen there will be, you know, we have been wanting disclosure for so long. They're going to give it to us. But it is not going to be the truth. They're going to do that holographic presentation of UFOs in the sky, there is a plan for that. So that will happen, and that's why I'm saying the first wave of ships or aliens that show up, they're not going to be our friends. So the second one will, because they come here to set things straight.
Right.
And they will have the power to dispel the first ones. So we can look for that, because once you show up in the sky the first time, they're the small ones. When the really big ones come, that is, kilometers and kilometers long and huge, those our dark side of government did not make. They don't have the capability of doing that. Yeah, we have some cigar-shaped ship too, but they're smaller. So watch for that. Just sit back and watch it. Don't get involved in the first one.
Will their hairstyle be the same as mine right now?
I'm sorry?
Will their hairstyle be the same as mine?
Probably.
Have you ever heard of a gentleman called Daryl Anker?
No.
Okay, he's actually in America. He actually channels an alien called Bashar. Have you ever heard of this?
Yes.
Yeah. There's a lot of things where I can reveal my ears to the ground. Now, there's a gentleman right now who's actually, his name is Sadhguru. Have you ever heard of Sadhguru?
No.
Okay, it's really important to understand the mystics of the world at the moment who are actually leading antennas of truth. Yeah. I call them antennas because they're like these receptors that are really revealing a lot of information at the moment, because there's a plateau of people that are misled by false information, like you said. So how do we, in general, Aage, not comply with false information?
Well, a good place to start, I guess, is get behind the TV and unplug it, and then start thinking for yourself and start associating with successful people that think like the ones you like to become like. Because, you will become like the people you associate with. So associating with people, don't necessarily be in their presence. You can associate with them by reading their books, watching their videos, reading their speeches and stuff like that. That way you are also associating, and it impresses itself on your subconscious mind. So I think there is much we can do without being in the presence of people like that.
A question for you and Diana. Will you guys ever co-author a book together, Aage?
Diana's going to be doing one here shortly, right? Diana, you've been sent.
My way, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And what's the book emphasize? What are we looking at here? What are we looking forward to? What are you seriously sharing with us? This is what I'd really love to know.
It is the story about my self-healing, about how I escaped from my own prison, how I escaped from myself.
And healed yourself.
Yes.
Okay, so what are we seriously, when I come back to it, there's one book that's ancient, that's actually, I think it's the only book that's been translated more times than the Bible. And I'm going to show this book. I'm not sure if the viewers can read this. However, it's a book called Tao Te Ching. This book here is seriously the pinnacle of truth when it comes back to understanding the mystery and the origin of life, its virtue, its chi in amongst it all. Everything leads back to source. If we concentrate on the leaves so much on the tree, seriously, we're going to miss the understanding of the roots. Yeah. However, if we go back to the root of the tree, we're going to understand where all the leaves are feeding from. So, you know, if you want to know your existence as a human, or if you want to know your existence as a soul, a spirit, a life form, then you're going to have to understand the source to understand the evolution of that existence alone. You know, because if you really, if you delve into all these things, these conspiracy theories, these false flags, these informations, you're not going to get far, seriously. However, if you tap into source, and by doing this, first and foremost, you're going to have to understand how to let go of what you're born into, how to let go of the false education that you've been given. It's at a grade 2 level. There's another gentleman I'm going to name. So all these names that I'm dropping, Alan Watts, Jacques Fresco, Sadhguru, Bashar, there's another name that I'll drop. His name is David Windmiller, a gentleman that actually,
I know him well.
Do you know him well? He's actually, Go for it.
We had a radio station in Tucson here about 17 years ago. And he called me about 6 or 7 times wanting to get on the radio, and I did interview him one time, and I enjoyed talking to the guy.
He's interesting, isn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a freak, man.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is that he is right on a lot of things, and he doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Nah, look, I've studied that gentleman very, very intently. And if you ever want to get out of the system, you might want to hold on to his services, because he's obviously holding his own maritime law in his own way, isn't he?
Yep.
Aage, is there a situation of truth where people can study their sovereignty to a degree on beating the court systems?
Yes, I have actually done that, but I would not recommend that to anybody unless they really take the time to study, because they need to know. They need to know, because the Gestapo, the state will not allow the ones that do not know how to defend themselves to stand up for themselves. They will run over you, they will lie, they will threaten you with guns, they will do anything they can do in order to intimidate people. I know, I have been that route, and I studied, and still some of it doesn't work. It all depends on how you go about it. So I would say study first and then worry about the expatriation if you want to do that.
Right. Also, I will say, look, there's a few books that I've pulled out. Aage, your book is a classic. I cannot emphasize for the listeners out there who are actually tapping into this broadcast. Aage, I'm not just promoting it because you're interviewing me, but I will say, if there's many books in history that I've read, it's your book that's revealed a few things. And I can't thank you enough. We must have definitely connected in this life for a reason, at the level of understanding the truth on such a paradigm.
Yeah.
Man, when I see you in person, I'm going to give you a chi hug that could change your hairstyle. You know that, right?
Oh, yeah. You mean it'll shorten it up?
No, if anything. However, we can all have a good laugh. There's this one book. I'm not sure if everyone can see that. You know what? It may even be backwards, but the Everything and the Nothing. And it's by that gentleman, Meher Baba.
Oh, okay.
So this book here, Aage, you'd love this. I'm sure he was a brother in a past life. Many. I mean, look at that. He's basically nearly got the same hairstyle, man.
Yeah.
However,
hey,
in saying that,
he doesn't look all bad, does he?
For the viewers and for the listeners, look, we may be struggling with having enough time to reveal a lot of things, but the simplicity of it all is everyone wants to look young, everyone wants to be secure with wealth, everyone wants to be healthy, that they never want to die. These are the things that are actually at the forefront of living. If you want to understand the physics of mysteries, you must master water. You must master oxygen. You must understand and master the self in, knowing that if you come and train with me, it's not about kicking or punching. It's about two things: self-discovery and self-discipline.
Yeah.
This may all be fancy. We may all laugh, and we may be promoting things to a degree. I'm not giving myself to a degree where you should buy my ways. But if we could get together, and if there's a few certain people listening to this broadcast, that if we can get together and we could orchestrate a space together that could actually help many generations come to the grounds of either where I live or what I'm yet to build next. I personally feel Jacques Fresco's work, The Venus Project, is pretty much the be-all and end-all as far as helping humanity go beyond itself with significance.
Yes.
If you look at the infrastructure of where he came from, the technology that he's using, it's full on. If this broadcast is ever listened to by anyone, Elon Musk, the guy is revered as a freak, but he's at the forefront with leading a few things.
Yeah. He is doing what he can, and he is bringing out some technology that is going to be helping us an awful lot. And speaking of the Venus Project, I think it is thevenusproject.com. You should go and look at what they have there, because I've studied it and it is phenomenal. It is he has outlined how we can live without money and still have a wonderful life. And, money was instituted by the Babylonians, which got it again from the Anunnaki. That's how they were trading and keeping slaves. And we're still the slaves.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that we're slaves to the mind that is obedient to the illusion of what we think is.
Yeah.
However, we can step out of that in a very, very simplistic format in saying to ourselves, what do I choose and how do I act? Because it comes from choice on whether you're a slave or not. You can either choose to be shackled by your thoughts, or you could actually free your mind by not complying to the thought process of what it keeps itself enslaved by, if that makes any sense.
Yes. Yeah.
Because it takes a real mind, a truthful mind, a loving mind to come from a space from your heart to let go of your old ways that's not serving the freedom that you choose to live in. You seriously have to, what can I say? You're going to have to start sacrificing a lot of things. I can't emphasize, Katie, I look at you through the screen, and your smile is paramount. I know for a fact your kids are giving you a run for your money.
Yeah. She's a pearl. She makes everything work here, and we love her. So yeah, you betcha.
Yeah, Katie, I can't thank you enough. The unsung hero. I'll call you the silent assassin in amongst it all. The smiling assassin as well. Look at that. Wow.
There you go.
What are you drinking there, Katie? What are you drinking? I want to ask that question. Can we hear Katie at all?
Iced tea.
Iced tea. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I used to listen to him in a rap album called Power. Iced tea.
Oh, okay, all right.
All right. And he's got a brother, what better to have iced tea without Ice Cube?
Yeah. And now, before we even did this show, you mentioned that you wouldn't mind taking a few calls if there was any. So you still want to do that maybe? Or?
by all means, if there's an
Okay.
extension of those, yeah.
Yeah, then
Uh-huh.
let me set the, you can put the number up here is 202 in the United States, 202-559-7943. And that is 202-559-7943. So if people remember to have that pencil close by, they might have been able to write this down. So who knows? Let's see what happens. Janne, what is next for you now, Sue?
Yeah, you know, I always try and get pulled into many different angles at seeing what's next. However, that leads me away from what is always. Or, in saying that in other words, what always is. You know, people are always on that search, what's next, what's happening. You know, do not be disillusioned by what's next. Be what is always forever. And you understand that nothing is separate to know what is next. You know, that's gonna cut your slavery in half to not leading yourself astray. However, if you stay in the present moment and be that blissful joy that you always were born with in the first place, which is basically named your awareness, then you're always going to understand that you are that love emanating the truth always. You know, so I'm not going to be, again, thank you for trying to catch me there with the illusion of what's next, you know.
Hey, it was worth a try,
It was
okay?
worth a try, you know what. However, I will say, when you know what is not separate, you know what always is in its totality. When you've mastered the way of life where there's no fragments, then you'll master the way of life which is a whole in every direction that it is. You know?
And I think in a roundabout way, what you're saying is that when you operate in the mind, outside of the physical, everything past, present, and future is there, so you can choose.
Very true.
Choose what you think, what you do. And that is what's called siddhi consciousness. That is when the mind creates at the power of thought. You do not have to necessarily doing like Babaji. I saw a video of Babaji. I think it was Babaji.
I love Babaji.
Yeah.
Or is it? Yeah.
He was walking through a crowd of people. And he closed his mind and he opened it and money was falling from his fingers. He closed it again, opened it, and there was more money flowing from his fingers. Closed it again and he kept, there wasn't just money, there was diamonds and there was rubies and there was other stuff in there that came from his hand, and he kept doing that while he was walking through the crowd. That is what's called siddhi consciousness, and you create at the power of thought. And this is possible. And I know we've talked about this once before, and that your place is a step on the way to that. Because you will never get there without knowing the foundations that creates it.
Very true. You know, you nailed it on the head right there. You know, and a lot of people, they're not concentrating on where it comes from. They're concentrating on what it actually produces and attaching themselves to that separateness. You know, they're not concentrating on the abundance where it can come from to share, yet they're actually concentrating too much on what it actually produces for them to be disillusioned on what they want to hold on to, thinking that what it creates is what's going to be everlasting when it's not. You know, again, you know, Jacques Fresco nailed it. He said, we're only going to be comforted by the program or the system that we're born into, and we're never going to think outside of the box. When really, at the end of the day, there's technology out there that's actually, you know, way beyond our current paradigm of thinking that's going to lead us into directions where there's not going to be one soul on the planet that will die of its former self, whether it's starving or in fear. You know, so if there's anyone out there that's going to that wants to choose to collaborate with me, you're more than welcome. Reach out. I'm always there. I've got the tools of what it takes. And I'm in touch with a lot of other people that are actually, you know, that are in the mountains at the present time, that, you know, that choose to not even tap into YouTube or have Facebook or have all these social paradigms. You know, there's still mystics in the mountains that are living in caves, that are, you know, still doing Qigong, and they're playing with life at will. You know, to bring life back from death is actually merely child's play to these guys, you know.
Yeah.
So when I do say that, I would love to work with those that actually want to pull out everything. Dome homes is the direction that I'm actually envisaging for the way of life. I'm not going to say the next thing. Dome homes is pretty much going to be the way of the sanctuary in the present time. I'll bring that into existence. Solar power, the energy from the sun. Energy is what it's all about. When a person has no energy, they're obviously... they've got no inspiration. They've got no imagination. When the energy is dispersed, they've got nothing left. However, if you actually tap into the source, it's abundant energy.
Yes.
And that's what Elon Musk is coming at you with, you know, abundant source with the energy of how we can actually be resourceful to the rest of the world by tapping into what's coming to us naturally, as opposed to what we're raping the earth with. You know, how primitive are we when we're digging the earth non-stop to grabbing a source called oil? You know, ladies and gentlemen, the movie, that Black Panther, look at this source of what's called vibranium.
Vibranium.
Yeah. So, you know, the blue liquid that actually makes everything work magnetically.
Yeah.
You know, so if you really want to tap into some things that are secret, you know, this is one thing that I emphasize, that if you're a listener or if you're an avid practitioner, always come from a place where you're not scared to reveal the truth. And that way everyone can share it at the same time. That way it wouldn't be called a secret. You know?
We are getting towards the end of the show here, because we have gone just nearly an hour over, and I thank them for allowing us to do that. Before we end here, I want to ask you for your last message to the listeners, because there is so much we have talked about, and remember, everything is kind of hard, so maybe you want to go back and listen to it again. You can go to YouTube and see it there. It will be on the Universal Consciousness Show, on their site at YouTube, the Universal Consciousness Show, and listen to it again. And also, I want to ask Sue, what would you tell people as a last message of hope and whatever else that you think would be good for them? That's a shot across the bow.
Yeah, this is... Silence is the plateau where your stillness is going to reside with nothing but peace. Nothingness is the plateau where your emptiness will always be at peace. If the last wish of a dying person is, what is it? What's everlasting? Immortality is everlasting. So for one to know that they are truly immortal, one must drop being mortal. Things begin, things have a middle, and things have an ending. Yet that is not what is going to give you everything. However, for you to just share exactly who you are and seriously come from a space of love. I mean, it's the old song that everyone sings, that love this, love that, and da 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 da. But seriously, love is something that's not outdated, and it can't be something that a timeline can be put on.
Yeah.
So no matter who you are, where you are, whatever you're doing, where you're going, and what you bring to the plate, love is always going to be paramount. It's always going to be the forefront of every evolution that will birth the way of life of all things. You know, I cannot emphasize.
And,
love is in your water. I must say, I don't want to interrupt anyone, but love is in your water. So if you drink water, drink it with love and immerse yourself with nothing but love while taking it all in and giving it all away.
And love is all there is, and love is everywhere and every when.
I can't emphasize enough when I say things like this to my mother, right? Are you ready for this, Aage?
Mm-hmm.
She says to me, all that philosophy crap of yours, monk. Go out and get a job. What's wrong with you, man? And however,
that's cute.
The last thing that always stays on my mind is, in the dying hour, all philosophies melt like snow.
Yep.
You know, so, you know, at the same time, no matter what you do, just give yourself the space and the time to be in love, be of love, and always give your love no matter where you are. So, Aage, I cannot emphasize how much my love goes out to you at the platform, but the interview. Diana, I will say nothing but love your way. I will call you big sister. Katie, the unsung smiling assassin, the pressing the buttons and making sure all the frequencies are aligned with everyone to listen and to talk freely with. Hopefully everyone. Daryl, much love for the kids and much love for yourself. I cannot emphasize, thank you so much for everything. And for all the listeners that actually had the time to go within and never go without.
Yeah, one last time, give them your website and your email address.
Okay, one last time, monkzoo.com, monkxu.com, email address zxumonk@gmail.com. You're always welcome to reach out if you ever need anything. I can always have sessions with you online or in person. And if you don't reach out, and if you're you're struggling, I'm sure you'll come onto my path for that very reason without even reaching. And I'll always be there for you, whether it's in form or in formlessness.
Sounds wonderful. Well, we are down to the end here, so I thank you very much, Mountzu, for being with us. And this was delightful. And then I thank you again, and then we will be back next week with the Universal Consciousness Show. And until then, for the listeners, see you then.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.